But my beats, they are hard.
All right. Hello. Good evening. It is the evening. Yes, it is. In the summertime. Welcome to another episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Alongside A.D. Drew, I'm Bryan Fulford. You're watching the longest running HBCU sports themed show on the internet. Season number 9, episode 40-something. About to start our 10th season next month, which is really next week. Drew, how you feeling? How you feeling about that?
It's been a long time, bro. And I know this is not the flashback show and everything, but I remember when the first time you called me and suckered me into coming on this.
Suckered? Really?
Suckered, yeah.
Okay.
Because I did not know we were going to be doing a podcast together.
What did you think
me? I don't know. You called me. You asked me to come on and make some comments about. I don't even remember what it was. May have been FAMU athletics. It may have been something. But anyway, we turned it to about an hour 15, hour 30 long show and everything. I was unprepared, had no notes. I'm trying to Google stuff as you go along and with these subjects and everything like that. And
2016 Googling at that.
Exactly. Did we even have? Yeah, we had Google back then.
Yeah.
But
as good as it is now, though.
Between Google and Yahoo and everything else, trying to find all these sources so that I wouldn't sound stupid. But the good thing about it, y'all, A, it was not live. B, it was audio only.
Yes.
And yes. C, we were not on. It was not a Sunday night. I think it was like a random Tuesday or Wednesday or something along those lines. And then we just kept going on. And then because we were on a Tuesday or Wednesday night to start with, that we would record and we would put it out on like a Thursday.
Right.
And then eventually we found ourselves to video, and I don't quite remember when we made the switch to Sunday nights, though.
It was probably during the football season. I think it happened during the football season because there would have been no reason in the world for us to do it in the summertime or in the. But I think we started.
We started the whole thing in the football season. You and I. It was during football season. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And somebody else who would come in with us at a point in time before you guys branched out with the ONG Strike Zone was Kofi also.
Yes.
He would come in and we would try to pull in guests. I remember trying to pull in Mike Washington one time. I remember trying to pull in Dr. Kavir. Now this was before they were on the network, everybody. I just we need to back this up because they came to the network. Ironically, they came to the network during COVID.
Right.
Because they were doing strictly a radio show also at that point in time.
I remember meeting Doc in the SWAC football media day for the first time in 2019.
Yeah, and I think I first remember meeting him and it was one of the media day. No, it was either at the Challenge or the Celebration Bowl when I first met him in person.
Right.
So that's kind of how that got going. Wow, man.
Yeah, I just remember being talked into, because again, when we first started doing the sports wrap, I remember myself, Ron Mitchell, Roy, we would actually get a table, and the whole concept was, before it became known as podcasting, we would do a show. We were radio guys, so we were thinking, do a radio show, get interviews with various HBCU coaches, pull it into an audio program, and then drop it on the internet, right? So that's why those early shows were like that. And it was Roy who actually pushed me, because I was so hesitant about doing live. I was so hesitant about doing video, right? Because I kept
and we all were.
Right, exactly. I mean, look at his face. This is a face for radio, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I don't.
And I had a radio background.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, come on, guys like us do radio. We don't do video, but look, nowadays they let anybody jump on video, and for some reason you guys watch us, so we appreciate you having these conversations. But 10 years, I every now and then I stumble across an old clip, and I just look. Obviously, I was in a different apartment, and I just remember, wanting to do all of that, and just it takes me back. So I appreciate doing this thing with you over the last 10 years, and we keep trying to get a little bit better at it, and maybe we keep trying to add a few things here and there. So all the while, seeing everybody else, and it's amazing how COVID really changed a lot of things in the industry, not only for us, life in general. There's a case study that we'll look back on, and it's funny, I'll get off of this in the last second. As a history teacher, one of the favorite lessons, and I say favorite, but one of the more interesting lessons I like to always have is around September 11th, because that's a real world major catastrophe event that I get to share with students who weren't even born, usually, whether it be high school or middle school. Most of them weren't born.
Bryan, if they're in school now, they were not born.
Okay, so we remember it. And there's always a lesson that I do, which I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, where I get to have them go home and talk to parents, grandparents about what it was like. And so it's one of those events that their parents, we can, so to talk about that in a way that is meaningful and kind of puts purpose, right? Well, COVID will do that in about, I think we're not even at 5. Well, we're just about 5 years, right?
Maybe about 10 years.
10 more years. 10 more years, I think, or when we get to the 10-year anniversary of COVID, we will be talking about what was COVID like for us, America, the world, how things changed, right? So yeah, I saw that. I hope yeah, their parents might be. And I tell you, man, the story, and I get a real
I would hope their parents were alive, right?
I will say this with the September 11th stories that I do with my kids, students, I always enjoy. That's the one I always make sure to go and read. Sometimes, look, pro tip, as a teacher, we don't read everything. We scan through some things just to make sure you did it, but we don't read.
Look for a couple of key prompts.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing this. I learned how to speed read in SBI, so okay, good enough. Okay, I'm looking for punctuation. Did you start it with a cap? Did you start whatever you're writing with a capital letter? Did you end it with a period? Okay, anyway, but that's a lesson that I usually take time to read over a course of 2 or 3 weeks, because I always am interested to hear, and I learn so much about the kids and their families and where their parents were, so on and so forth during that period. So anyway, long story short. All right. So anyway, season 10 of the Sports Wrap begins next week. That's where all that started.
You just made me think about something when you went back to September 11th and everything else. And I know we're going to get to the sports and everything like this. But, like I told you, I had a radio background. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if I remember when I was actually on the air as a radio DJ back in Jefferson City, Missouri. KJLU. And you talk about that September 11th and remembering where you were and what you were doing. I also remember, and I think about now that I'm in media, the people having to break that story on the fly as it was happening. And for me, I think about my time when I had on the air had to break devastating live news. And I think back to uh 2000. I believe it was like August of 2000. And I was in Missouri at that point in time, and Governor Mel Carnahan had died in a plane crash. And he died, and everything was confirmed during the time which I was on the air, which was from 8 p.m. to midnight, doing a hip hop show, hip hop, rap, everything else. And think about this, everybody. 2000 really did not have too much internet, if you had it at all. I think I had dial up at home and everything else. Back at that time was the first version of high speed, whatever it was. But I'm at the radio station, and one of my callers called me and said, "Hey, do you have any update on the Carnahan situation?" Of course, at that time, I'm doing hip hop. I'm not paying attention to the doggone news. So I'm like, no. And then they kind of told me what happened. I'm like, are you serious? So I I queue up about 3 or 4 songs, and I go into basically the newsroom at the radio station. Yeah, I knew where it was. Never had to really use it and everything, but you do. But you know where all the tools are and everything. If weather comes up, you know where you have to do it, what you have to do, and everything else. So anyway, I go, I pull. There's about 2 sentences on there, and throughout the show, I'm starting to get it. And during the middle of a hip hop show, I have to turn news reporter,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to break this, and I have to do this just like all this. Now, mind you, never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be breaking that type of news on the air doing a hip hop show on a Friday night. I believe it was a Friday night, may have been a Thursday night. I don't know what night of the week I was on, but it was wild. And that's what you talking about, that September 11th, where you were and things like that. Just having to do that in media and everything else that we are tasked with doing now, because we are media. If a story breaks while we're on this podcast right now.
Yeah. Mm. Well, let's kind of get into all of the good stuff that we have planned for today. First off, I want to thank everybody for jumping in. However and wherever you're watching us, you might be watching on Instagram Live. Jamie Walker, Sport Voice, J Dub, watching on Instagram Live.
Another great SIAC sit down this week, and I'm not just saying that because it was my head coach who was on there. But
Sure.
great job. A great series between Jamie and Sly. If you have not saw their SIAC sit down series that they have done over the summer with the coaches within the SIAC, you are missing something. And for those of you all who trying to prognosticate and figure out what's going on in SIAC football this year, Jamie, Sly got part of the cheat code, y'all. Go listen to him on HBCU game day.
Hit the on Instagram Live. We're also streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or X, if you want to call it. So we say hello to everybody there. Hello to everybody in the BCSN chat. The chat is running live. Everybody's in there. Appreciate you. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, MEAC and SIC Media Days were this past week. I do want to dispel a nasty rumor. Hold on a second. Hold on. That's not the one from Emmett. Pull that off for a second. Okay, I want to clarify something. Emmett, Sylvester Williams, Sly, the sports guy who was on with us last week, he was not on stage at the SIAC Media Day interviewing football coaches and players. I want to be crystal clear. That was not. See, I brought that up in our private group, and I thought I was the only one who caught that. But see, Emmett put this out in public spaces, okay? So I have to clarify this in public. I was not going to mention this, but I have to do it now because Emmett did this. That was not Sly. I don't even know who that gentleman was, to be perfectly honest with you.
I can't remember what Marvin's last name is. Jamie's in the chat. Help me out with Marvin's last name.
Marvin. Sly, at first I thought that was Sly's doppelganger. No. Yeah, but anyway, so listen, Sly was working in a collab that we were doing live, right? Sly, Jamie, Ja Hobbs, in the BCSN /SIC set down / just Ja Sports / HBCU game day. We were all doing a collab at the SIC Media Day. Sly was not on stage talking with the coaches and players. I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about the SIC Media Day and other stuff. As well as some of the other big news topics from the past week. Go ahead.
Two other people that they get confused a lot of times. A lot of times people get Charles Bishop and Ken Rashad confused also. I've seen people do that.
Is it the bald head thing?
Two light-skinned bald-headed brothers.
Okay. All right. Don't get Mike Tirico in the same room with Charles and Ken. Okay. And then ask a random guy who is that? If I put see, I was gonna do some searching here and try to say who is this? But anyway, no. All right. So a bald head, no facial hair.
I got my
That's
other
what
computer going off, Brian.
Okay. All right. Well, Drew. But anyway, that's a little bit of that. So anyway, yeah, good talking. Got a chance to chop it up with Jimmy Mack. SoFlo Rattler came in town. Good to see you. WSSU Ram Nation in the house. Let's see what else. There was also this by Blue Jacket. Training camp is starting next week. I mean, for many HBCUs now, because of week 0, which is the weekend before Labor Day, and football seasons are starting for practically 90% of HBCU teams. Training camps are starting this upcoming week. So yes, a heat wave is coming through the South. So hopefully these athletic programs are ready to have early morning practices or late afternoon, evening practices to get ready. I hope they're not practicing.
Did FAMU get their cooling station thing again? The cooling container?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Cats better get the ice tub and big packets of ice and lots of hydration. Lots of hydration. So anyway, well, before we get into some of the topics, a lot of stuff happening. I want to bring up, and I encouraged everyone in our back channels group, but also I wanted to encourage the folks who were watching. Well, that came out awkward, but anyway, the pivot at MEAC Media Day. Of course, Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, Fred Taylor were at MEAC Media Day. They were the host. Thought they did a great job of talking to the head coaches. And of course, to underscore all of this, Drew, this came on the heels of hold on, where'd my other graphic go? Hold on a second, Drew. We lost something here. Hold on. One of my graphics changed. Doggone it. I hate when this happens. Where's my damn graphic? This came on the heels of what in the world am I talking about, Drew? Hold on. I got distracted because I didn't expect my screen. Where's my sports wrap layout? There it is. Oh, two up with chat box. There it is. Okay, sorry about that. Real world problems here happening. There we go. All right. Whew, Jesus. Okay. This happened a day after the whole Ryan Clark no longer at ESPN. And if you had a chance to go, I would encourage you Friday's Pivot, which is the podcast, Pivot the podcast, right? I thought Ryan Clark did a great job of kind of breaking down what happened in his situation. But in listening to that podcast, and this sort of is on the heels of what Cam Newton talked about. I saw you play this little clip during Dr. Gaville's show where Cam talked about being an independent creator and independent media person, and how even though he got let go by ESPN, which was a bit of a shock, he's like, hey, look, I'm going to be okay because I have my own. But in listening to Clark's podcast and the 12 years that he was at ESPN, I was reminded that as a black man, and I tweeted this, and I'm very specific in how I said this, Drew, as a black man in a space where you are not the owner or don't have control of the environment, you're constantly having to move different, talk different, act different, interact different. Because at any point in time, someone who is not maybe friendly towards your culture, someone that looks like you, I mean, you know, they could obviously, things could spiral in a way that don't favor you. And this day and age, you could end up being let go or fired, as the case of Ryan Clark made it very clear. He was not laid off, he was fired. And it could be a shock to the system. And I think what I heard in listening to him talk about it was, he didn't say this, Drew, but I caught it in the way he said it. He got comfortable. And even though he'd been there 12 years, things he did, not maliciously, but he allowed he let his guard down. And so when he was talking, he talks about being disappointed and how he was shocked and he didn't see things coming. I kept hearing, oh, you got comfortable. You forgot where you were. You forgot that you're at a corporation and that you aren't in control of the environment like you are with his own podcast, right? And so even in a moment of natural authenticity, when that whole interaction that people tried to play against him and Peter Schrager, that was a natural moment where he and Peter had an interaction. One guy became visibly upset when they went to a commercial because he knew that what it was going to look like on him, and the other guy celebrated it because he knew that was a great TV moment. And yes, it was a great TV moment but for him, it didn't have the same meaning, right? And so in that moment, he realized when somebody recorded and released his post-moment interaction compared to the other guy, that was the moment when he was like, oh, somebody is out here to make sure that the perceptions that people have of men that look like us actually are advanced. Like, oh, look at the angry black man. And it's so I was reminded of that, and having worked in many places and spaces where I am always cautious. And even though it's always in moments when I get too comfortable, something happens that checks me and checks my ego. And I'm like, whoa, you need to slow down because this ain't yours. You don't control this environment. So I've been there. I am there. I understand that moment of that insecurity. And I know those of you watching us, whether you've been in that situation, maybe you've experienced something like that, especially if you're not your own owner operator, you probably dealt with it, especially those of us who look like us in the chat, And so I think that's a great episode to watch. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole Cam Newton episode, the one that you played, the clip. I didn't watch his whole comments, but it's a great reminder about, and he said some of the things I'm sure that your parents told you, Drew, about having to be 2 to 3 times better than and even then, don't get comfortable because at any moment you could be expendable. I'll never forget some of the greatest lessons I learned. I thought I was doing a great job at a particular radio station company. I ended up getting let go. This was one of my early shocks in life coming out of college. I got let go. Right? Well, and I was like, why? And all I was told was, well, Florida is a at-will state and we don't really have to have a reason. I was like, huh? All my reviews have been good. I don't think anybody has complained about me, have they? I don't know. Nobody has had a meeting with me to talk about me not doing things right or wrong. Come to find out a week later, it was because they were bringing back another young lady who used to work in my department. Another young lady.
Was she cheaper than you also?
I don't know if she was cheaper, but she had worked there longer. And, I'd only been there 8 months, so I was the newbie. I was the newest guy. I was the second youngest, newest person. But I wasn't a female, and I didn't have the relationships that she had because she had worked there for a few years before me. But she wanted to come back, and
they had to create a space.
I had to create a space, and so they created a space. Hey, well, you're the only male in the department, so it's mostly females, and you're not gay, so we gotta get rid of you. It's like not that I was hitting on any of the women. I was being appropriate at work, Drew. You know what I'm saying? But she definitely looked better than me, so I would have got rid of me too if I was. Who do you want to look at 5 days out of the week for 7-8 hours? You don't want to look. So anyway, I get it. Exactly. See,
even when you had the hair and the earring, Bryan.
Aggie understands the earring only works on certain people. It don't work on men in sales departments. It don't work on that. Exactly. Thank you, Aggie 76. She definitely looked. I will admit, she looked way better than me. So I would have got rid of me too. But anyway, learning in the moment where I'm going with this story, in the moment, it was a reality check. And it's like, hey, I had to pack my box at the end of a day and go home and try to find a new job. But anyway, we're thankful to be our own content creators here. And so at the end of the day, all I ask you guys is continue to support independent media. There's a lot of us out there, and I know, look, we asked for the super chats, we asked for the cash apps, membership, joining the JBN channel, and you could be spending money in 5 and 6 different places, or maybe you mix it up in a month. But I will just tell you, it's appreciated. And, that's why you always hear me talk about things like, hey, go check out the BCSN Pod Zone. Why? Because we actually get revenue from our podcast. But we got to have people that listen to it, download it, right? Subscribe to the channel even if you only listen to like 10 minutes of the show going to work, it adds revenue. So you're sort of indirectly helping us by not really paying for it. You know what I'm saying? So when you get these moments to support with a thumbs up, even if I listen to a podcast for only 10, 15 minutes, I always hit the thumbs up because I understand what it's like being in this, trying to build your own. And with that said, Ryan Clark's going to be okay. And who knows, maybe we'll see more of the pivot involved with HBCU sports because I thought they did a great job. Drew, what was your thoughts on whether it be Ryan Clark or maybe the pivot at MEAC Media Day? You had a chance to be in the same space. I don't know if you talked to him or not, but
no. We were in the same building. We were not in the same space. First of all,
gotcha.
make sure we get that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Let me back up, Brian. People make fun of me. You guys are too, like that. Drew, you always got another gig. You got a side gig and everything else. There's a reason why I have learned to have outside income outside of my primary income.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have been Ryan Clark before.
Yeah.
Be it because you're the smartest, in the room. If not only the smartest,
you are.
If not only the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Or you're one of those people who don't mind expressing your opinion about certain things. And right or wrong, because usually you should be able to have creative differences while you're working. There's this level of disagreement, but sometimes when folks don't, and even when folks do look like you, they take offense to some of the things. But Brian, I don't even know do you honestly think the only reason he was put in that situation was because of that comment on the air to his colleague? Or
no, it wasn't.
Let me start. Or was it more of that stance that he took about voting rights and the SEC and black athletes boycotting the SEC? Because he also made that stance, Brian. And what is ESPN's cash cow?
Yeah.
The SEC.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it was one. It was one. It was a bunch of things.
Honestly, if you ask me, that was really the primary reason. You put out something that could hurt the company's bottom line. This is our public excuse. But that's really why we had to can your black ass.
On the ledger, look, you know what they say in life, we have a ledger and we got to go before God, right? With the things we have, and look, if you understand and read the Bible, we don't have to do a bunch of these great things, right? That's really not how it works. But I'm using that as an example, right? If at your job, you have a list of things you do well, things you don't do well, I'm sure on the ledger of things that they didn't like about him was that.
And hold up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Cam was kind of down that same road also. Although they had started phasing Cam out prior. But Cam also had some similar type statements that he made on his own platform. And keep in mind, despite the fact that both of these guys have their own platform and they're gonna do well, they also still have to deal with advertisers.
Yeah.
And most of the people making the decision on where to spend their ad dollars at look like what, Brian?
Don't look like you and me.
So
yeah, all of that probably there was probably all of those factors that went into it. It probably wasn't just one thing, but people will for media, social media clicks, they'll look at the most salacious thing, and they'll count down. Like there are certain outlets that'll make a lot of clicks off his name, and they'll run down the whole list of reasons why.
And and what outlet got the story first?
The same outlet that is one of his biggest opponents or critics. So no surprise. No surprise.
And let me tell y'all something. From corporations, news leaks for a reason.
It does.
There is Steve Gates. He's in the chat. He'll tell you things leak for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is in disagreement with what the company is doing and how they're doing it, or somebody has a ulterior motive when they leak stories to outlets. Brian, we've got leaked stories.
Oh yeah,
we've got leaked, and
we're gonna talk about that in a second.
We sit on them a lot of times because at the Black College Sports Network, we're not about breaking stories. Yeah. I've been with certain people when they've got the scoop,
mm-hmm.
and they've broken the story right there in my face, multiple outlets. But it's just one of those things.
Well, speaking of leaked stories, the Tennessee State story and the 6 head coaches that wrote a letter to Tennessee State's president, issuing a statement that they had no confidence in the abilities of Dr. Mickey Allen, who was the athletic director. That happened at the end of May, I believe, right before June 1st turned, right? That was a story that was broken by the Tennessean. I believe it was the Tennessean. The letter got to the Tennessean. Of course, they published it, and then you quickly saw other outlets, including like HBCU Game Day and others, talk about it, right? And I said something last week. We were coming up on 2 months, and I was like, this was following the OVC's football media day that Tennessee State is a part of, where they were picked last. I asked the question, is anybody still talking about this story? Is anybody talking about this story? Well, and then all of a sudden, I see this pop up on my timeline. Bam. Out. What? As first reported, but as reported by HBCU Game Day, reports came out that TSU AD Dr. Mickey Allen was placed on administrative leave while the university continues an internal investigation into the athletics department. I believe that dropped on Friday. And it was like, oh, really? What's happening at TSU? So the investigation followed a May 28th letter, of course, as mentioned, with 6 Tennessee State head coaches expressing concerns about the department's leadership, communication, direction, and operations. Now, noted 4 of the 6 coaches were hired by Dr. Allen, including the head football coach, Ricky Barlow, an Allen hire. Men's basketball coach, Nolan Smith, an Allen hire. Women's basketball coach, Candace Dupree, not sure if she was a hire or not. I think she may have been. Track and field coach, Chandra Cheeseborough, who I had the pleasure of meeting. She was not. She'd been there for like some 20-something years. Volleyball coach, Danica Sutton, and softball coach, Jenny McRath. All of them were a part of it. And I thought what was, again, 4 of those 6, we know Cheeseboro was not, and I don't know who was the other one that wasn't an
I
Allen
want to
hire.
say it was Gene McRath, the
Gene
softball
McGrath,
coach.
the softball
I
coach?
think he had the second longest tenure there. Don't quote me
Right.
on that, but I think it was McRath.
Okay. Well, the latest news, which came out this weekend, is that figure out how these. Yeah. Anyway, we'll figure out these graphics. It's not coming out like I thought it would. But anyway, I'll put it right there. So Jennifer Bell is named the interim athletic director. I don't know. Veteran administrator.
He's been there since 1991.
Yeah. Yeah.
SWA.
She's been serving as the executive senior associate AD, the women's AD, and head student athlete services. So, the most tenured adult in the room, probably, right? Kind of makes sense to some degree. She is the interim. And it does bring up again this whole concept of being placed on leave versus being dismissed versus being fired. Interesting, right? We were just kind of talking about that for a second. Obviously, what's the difference, Drew, between being placed on leave and dismissed?
Obviously, yes. Being placed on leave, that's pack up your. That means do not come on campus, do not pass go, do not collect your $200. Although usually when you're on leave, you are being paid for that leave. Now, depending on how they frame that, that could be all of your accumulated time that they're just drawing down, or you could be still getting paid your salary, but you would not be accumulating any additional time until to the conclusion of the investigation, whatever the investigation is. And we just saw something similar to this with Texas Southern when
Yes.
Kevin Granger was put on leave. He probably was on leave maybe like 6 months before they finally pulled the plug. And a lot of times you just can't, especially when you get to a certain level of administration, and considering he probably has a contract. I don't know any athletic director who does not have some type of contract. So depending on what's there in his contract, most athletic directors have an agent also. So between the agent and the lawyers and everything else from both sides, trying to hash through what for Tennessee State, what is it going to take from us to make you go away? From Dr. Allen, what are you going to give me so that I go away? And working through all of that stuff. Because usually when you're put on leave, even if the allegations are unfounded and there's nothing out of it, it is hard to come back from that in the same space, in the same place.
Yeah. Allen started in 2020, which I believe was right around COVID, or maybe just after. Let me see, 2020. Yeah, that was right around COVID.
That was COVID.
Yeah, so he's been there 5 or 6 years, and you talked about how hard it is to come back. I mean, you knew something had to give here when the people you hire, and again, imagine how bad it had to be as the last result, because I'm sure those coaches really had to really step out on faith that this was the last straw. Like we've been trying to have meetings. We've been trying to get answers and resolution to things. I mean, some of these coaches have only been there a year. Barlow and Nolan Smith had only been there a year, Drew.
Yeah, but Brian, when Chandra Cheeseborough steps out,
yes,
I can step out on her back because nobody is going to get rid of Cheeseborough. Well, there are certain people at certain institutions who pretty much are untouchable.
She knows where all the bodies are buried. She knows everybody.
Exactly.
And so if she's willing, I bet you anything, she was the last person that they went to. I don't know who.
I beg to differ. I think she may have been the first person.
Oh wow!
That they went to, which led to the other ones. Hell, the Cheeseborough said, "I'm good."
Right? Yeah. Oh, really? Like, he hired me. He hired me, right?
Or it could have been like the Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas thing. You know, yeah, Isaiah, I play as long as Isaiah don't play.
Yeah.
Where whatever Jordan say, go. That's what that was in that department. Whatever Cheeseborough say, go.
Yeah. So here's a little bit about, again, Jennifer Bell named the interim athletic director. Just probably hours or days after the announcement. She is just reading here from off the TSUtigers.com, the website. She is a native of Clarksville, Tennessee. She's a graduate from Fisk University, got her master's in sport administration from Tennessee State. She spent 11 years as an assistant women's basketball coach under former head coach Teresa Phillips. Then after coaching, she transitioned into athletic administration. So that would have been in the early 2000s, where, as mentioned, she served in leadership roles in compliance, student services, and student athlete development. So needless to say, she has seen Tennessee State athletics when it was operating in better times, maybe financially, socially, and even administratively. She has seen a lot. So, and I'm curious if that, I didn't know if that letter, I wonder. I didn't read the letter in its entirety, and I don't know if the whole letter got published, but I wonder if Jennifer Bell was mentioned, or even if it were just in conversation to say, we would support Jennifer Bell, or we would like to see Jennifer Bell in the leadership role, either permanently or in a transition period until, if you want to go and do a search for a new AD, whatever. But, she understands what this department and university needs.
Brian, let me take you behind the weeds a little bit. Usually when there's an interim athletic director, your interim athletic director usually comes from one or two places, Brian. One of three. Obviously, if you have an associate athletic director, that's one of your top candidates. Your senior women's administrator is also another top candidate, because that's why the senior women's administrator position was created to create female leaders, to create ultimately athletic directors. Or it's your compliance. It's somebody who's over the compliance piece.
Yeah.
Those are usually your three pools of candidates for an interim position.
Well, what I'm going to be interested, so in just a quick wrap up here on this, will the hire, will the dismissal, will the naming of Bell, what type of long-term effects, or even short-term, because I think as you're starting the football season, and Tennessee State has some big games and big opportunities coming up here. And then, of course, they have a basketball program, men's program, on the heels of a championship and a great run. What watch how the attendance. Watch the attendance numbers for Tennessee State games. I know they opened the season over at Vanderbilt University Stadium against Jackson State. And then they've got some other games throughout the year. Will we see a growth in attendance? Will we see a renewed excitement in that alumni base with Bell hopefully speaking to the alumni and maybe managing the department in a way that is more connected to, in a way that maybe Dr. Allen was not able to do? Again, he was not a TSU guy. Somebody had put in the note where he came from and how he got there, okay? So, if you want to go with he's not like us, no, he's not like y'all, Tennessee State. But so it'll be interesting to see if you see an uptick in engagement, attendance. I mean, look, we're going to see Tennessee State down in Tallahassee. So it'll be interesting to watch and see how Tennessee State fans move, because this could be the first indicator of Tennessee State maybe finding its way back into the HBCU sporting diaspora. I don't know. I'm just
not until they get a full-time athletic director.
Who knows? There's no
be
time.
It her, be it somebody else.
Exactly.
But not until there's a full-time athletic director. And Bryan, speaking of Tallahassee, maybe Ms. Bell could sit down and talk to some of the people in Tallahassee about running the department with the interim athletic director, because FAMU has a lot of experience with having interim athletic directors.
And on that note, we will take our first break of the show. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Miss Bell for Mr. Smith, please.
When we come back, we'll talk about the HBCU Sports Awards, as well as some other news and notes from the MEAC and SIAC Media Days right on the other side. Hit the thumbs up and the like button wherever you are. We appreciate your support of the BCSN SportsWrap. Drew and I will be back in a moment right after these words.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image.
Ever told yourself, I want to get into real estate but don't know where to start? Here's something just for you. From Friday, July 31st to Sunday, August 2nd, the Learn Real Estate Fast Masterclass is coming to McKenzie Office Park in College Park. You'll learn wholesaling, commercial investing, and how to purchase property with zero money or credit. I can tell you, education and access are everything. This masterclass is designed to give you both. Whether you're brand new or ready to level up, this is where you start making real moves. Enjoy free lunch, free study materials, and receive a certification of completion. So don't wait. Seats are filling fast. Do not sit on the sidelines while others build wealth. Take that first step toward ownership and legacy. Get your tickets now at learnrealestatefast.com or tickpick.com. For more information, call 678-859-3303. Master the market, build your legacy, secure your future today.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Introducing the HBCU Trivia Game. It's more than a board game. It's a journey to the legacy of historically black colleges and universities. Here's how it works. 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, start as freshmen and roll the dice to advance. But here's the twist. You can only move forward by answering trivia questions about HBCU. Test your knowledge of notable alumni, key historical events, sports milestones, and fun HBCU facts. Watch out for spaces that propel you ahead or set you back. And if you get a question wrong, you stay put until your next term. The first to reach graduation wins. The HBCU Trivia Game. Support, educate, entertain. Available now. Let the journey begin.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL on August 29th with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff presented by Toyota, representing the SWAC, Alabama A&M, and representing the MEAC, Howard, Bulldogs, Bison, the Marching Maroon and White, the Showtime Marching Band, the premier FCS matchup in primetime with a kickoff trophy up for grabs. Join us pre-game for band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Drew, we are 4 Saturdays, 4 weekends away from the start of the HBCU football season, week 0, beginning in 4 more Saturdays. Are you excited?
Not quite yet, Brian.
Hadn't hit you yet, huh?
I think once August gets here, and as I start preparing, it's a little bit different for me because not only do I have to prepare things for Morehouse athletics, Morehouse football, but I also have to prepare things for the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff presented by Toyota also. So I don't know about exciting, Brian. It's stressful is probably more the word for me.
Okay.
Especially as August approaches.
All right. I did get some information. You asked about whether the cooling station for FAMU football, that cooling container, that's what you were speaking of, right? So I can report here, and I got to appreciate VM Matt for sending me this. The FAMU Rattler Boosters and the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club announced that they will once again split the cost of renting the Rattler Recovery Unit based on the Bordeaux Recovery System, the 9-foot by 40-foot climate-controlled container that provides rapid body temperature reduction for the upcoming 2026 football season. The renewed agreement marks the 5th consecutive year the two organizations have collaborated to deliver cutting-edge cooling technology that protects players from heat-related injuries and accelerates recovery. So thank you and congrats again, Rattler Boosters, the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club. They will be doing their best to keep guys cool, and so I believe we are only one of maybe a handful. Well, I don't know if we're the only HBCU. I think given the fact that they're in Louisiana, I thought one of the Louisiana HBCUs, maybe Grambling, or maybe even Louisiana. Oh man, guys sending me some great little graphics here. I'll show you. Oh, appreciate it. Good stuff here. Yeah, see you guys on the fly sending me stuff, Drew. So I love it. I love it. I'll post that so everyone maybe a little bit later in the show we can show everybody kind of what that looks like. And I would like to know. Yeah, I do think we're the only. No, I felt like either Grambling or Southern. I thought Grambling or Southern was maybe one of the only programs that had this. And hold on, I'm getting all kinds of people hitting me up. Appreciate it, guys. Hold on, let me. So I can hit y'all with some pictures to show y'all how Rattlers move. Right, no matter what y'all say, no matter what you think is going on the highest of seven hills, Rattlers are making S happen. Bada boom, bada bing. There you go, Drew. There it is. So the only HBCU with this technology. My guys, appreciate the FAMU lead for hitting me up and sharing this information. Again, congratulations and shout outs to the Rattler Boosters and the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club. As you can see, delivery is scheduled for the 29th, which I think that's when training camp starts. The 29th is Wednesday. I think training camp either starts Tuesday or Thursday. So step your game up, HBCUs. We are the only HBCU with this technology. So, there are a lot of things that Rattler Nation may not have, but we got this, though. There you go. All right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to the family in the chats and emails and text for getting me this information. Good stuff. All right. Okay. The next story we want to hit up is the 2026 HBCU Sports Awards. Now, these are hosted by HBCUsports.com. And it's the third year that they've done this. And, I remember when I saw Ken first putting these out, I was a little envious, because these are great ideas. Like I'm sure in this space, Drew, as content creators, we probably all have thought about similar ideas at some form or fashion or some version of an idea. But it does take a lot to actually execute and make these things happen. I'm proud of the fact that, a few years ago, we had the ONG Awards for our ONG Strike Zone show, which will be coming up on its fourth year. And, I don't know. I'm going to poke my chest out. Maybe Ken and the guys at HBCU Sports saw what we did with our show on a Wednesday and for FAMU and said, we should do something like that for all of HBCU sports, since that's what they cover, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So shout out to them. And that takes a lot of work. Like when we do our FAMU related, we have about maybe, I don't know, Kelvin's in the chat. We have about 7 or 8 categories that we do. And that's a lot. So imagine having 46 categories that cover Division I, Division II, and NAIA. That was a lot. And they have everything from programs of the years, individual honors for athletes, administrators, broadcasters, all of that stuff, right? Here are a few of the bullets. And I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts. If you watched, put a thumbs up if you ended up watching the feed live when Ken and the guys at HBCUsports.com did this, or whether you just kind of caught it. But give a thumbs up if you actually watched it live. The athletic program of the year. Now, I kind of hinted at this when we were doing our top 25 stories. This one did not surprise me, Drew. Who was the athletic program of the year?
Howard.
Yeah.
10 conference championships. It's kind of hard to beat that one.
Yeah. Athletic program of the year, Howard. I don't know if there was a close second. I don't know who the finalists were. That's what I don't have in front of me. But I don't know if there was an argument that could be made against Howard because of how dominant they were. So congratulations to Howard University Athletic Program of the Year. Athletic Director of the Year. And shout out to Dr. Cavill, who does this. He has done this for at least the last 3 seasons, at least, where he's been naming Athletic Director of the Year.
No, it's 5 seasons.
Oh, he's 5 years. Okay. He has done a major and mid-major Athletic Director of the Year. Well, the HBCU Sports Awards, the Athletic Director of the Year, this must have been across all divisions, went to Fayetteville State's Anthony Bennett. That was interesting. I don't know. I don't follow Fayetteville State enough other than that they did win. That they were in the – let me see. What did they do in football? Nope, they didn't play in the championship. They had a decent football season. I do know that they won the CIAA men's basketball. The women went to the tournament. But be interesting. I didn't hear the show. Be interesting to see or hear why Anthony Bennett won. Do you recall where he ranked on Dr. Cavill's listing?
He was top 5 on the Division II level.
Okay, top 5 on the Division II level. Okay, yes. All right. The Conference of the Year went to the SWAC. I think that hands down the explosion of SWAC TV probably had a lot to do with that. I would say SWAC was the Athletic Conference of the Year. This might be a little controversial. The Football Coach of the Year went to Delaware State's Deshaun Jackson.
He was +7, I think, and wins. Was it 7, 8?
They won 8 games, I think, in the season. But you're talking about where they were predicted.
You go from where they were last year.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he had the largest increase win year over year.
He did.
Hands down.
He did have the largest increase.
But no, I'm not even going to say it.
The fact that he didn't win the title?
No, I wasn't even going to go there. But you went there.
Well, I mean, that would have been the only knock.
Only thing I'm going to say is y'all like to talk about us Rattlers and everything. Sometimes stacking votes, there is a Delaware State person on the committee. So that's all I'm going to say.
Wow. That's a shot. That's a shot. Ooh. Was Tremaine Jackson winning the SWAC in his first year. Chinnis Berry unbeaten again in conference and this time winning the Celebration Bowl. I think you could have easily made an argument for those two. And I think, we kind of predicted and expected Chinnis Berry. I think it really probably came down to Jackson and literally the 2 Jacksons. I think it came down to the 2 Jacksons. I wonder, do Ken and those guys, did they show you the voting? I would love to see the percentage voting. If it's just their team of writers, I would love to see how the votes stacked. Somebody mentioned, Quinn Gray at Albany State. Definitely worthy. How far? And here's the thing. what could have pushed some people over? You know, had Quinn Gray got to the semifinals, would that have been enough? If Tremaine Jackson had won the Celebration Bowl, would that have been enough?
Chennis Berry won the Celebration Bowl, and it was not enough. So
exactly.
wait, and Brian, and let's be fair. It is hard to judge when you put FCS, Division II, and NAIA in the same categories such as they do.
Yeah.
You know, how do you distinguish the success on the various levels to equal out the playing field to be able to make a vote outside of the quote unquote gut feeling?
Right. All right, let me keep going. Let me keep moving here. Virginia Union's Curtis Allen was the offensive football player of the year.
That's no shocker.
Yeah, no shocker. Morgan State's Eric Hunter earned defensive football player of the year. You know. Okay. Tennessee State's Aaron, I'm gonna mess the name up. I'm not even gonna try. Aaron Ruma. Is that a silent N? Kruma of Tennessee State was the men's basketball player of the year. Winston-Salem State's Navia Farmer was the women's player. Southern's KJ White was the baseball player of the year. Morehouse's Bryan, is it Kime was the men's cross-country runner of the year. Alabama State won the award for best social media presence, which I'm not following Alabama State. Okay. I don't know. I don't see it, but okay. Jackson State won Band of the Year. Imagine that. They won Band of the Year over Southern, who
won the Red Lobster Band of the Year.
Yeah, and Florida A&M, who was the defending Band of the Year that went to the finals and outperformed Southern. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there, but okay. Congratulations to the Sonic Boom. Keep them happy. Keep thee happy, and they'll stay out of your timeline. Howard's Derek Bryant named Sports Information Director of the Year. Kind of goes in line with Howard winning the All Sports Award. So
can you put the asterisk on that one?
No, because that's what happened.
No. I just want to say I was a finalist for that.
Yeah. Okay. See, you mentioned it. I wasn't going to mention it.
No, I mean, congratulations to Derek, but I just wanted to know I was a finalist for that, and just to be a finalist is
okay. And again, I wasn't going to mention it because I didn't want you to feel some kind of way about not winning it and go on a rant about not winning it. So I was just not going to mention
obviously
it. But congratulations on being nominated, Drew. I will say that to you here on the air.
And obviously, you whenever you lose an award, you have your personal feelings about it. But you know, Derek's a stand-up guy. Derek does a great job up there at Howard. You know, I just gotta hope my football team or my basketball team make up for the lack of the voting by the voters when we play them this year.
I will say it's a coin toss between who sends me more emails about their university, Derek or AD. That's all I'll say. It's a toss-up. And I'm not on any other mailing list. So if you all want to put me on a mailing list, you can text me and I'll gladly be on your mailing list, SIDs, right? Anybody who watch, I would gladly be on, but I know I'm on the Howard mailing list and I'm on the Morehouse mailing list, and I get a ton of emails about any and everything that goes on with those universities. So needless to say, you want a chance at winning this award, you might want to put some people on that mailing list. Just saying. That's kind of how that works. Thank you, A&T, for reminding me. Yeah, about the A&T and Virginia State. Well, okay. We won't go there. All right, Drew. MEAC results are in for let me see, did I download the images for the MEAC player the standings. Do you have those?
No, I do not.
All right. I thought somebody had those. Anyway, let me see if we pull them up real quick. Predicted order of finish. Shouldn't have been a big surprise. Here we go. We'll flash it up here on the screen in case anybody missed it. All right, in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, the predicted order of finish. South Carolina State predicted number 1, North Carolina Central, Dell State 3, Morgan State, Norfolk State, Howard. I think the biggest maybe shocker in all of this, Norfolk State got a vote, a first place vote. That's probably a bit of a shocker. Everything else should not have been. I am a little surprised that Howard got so few votes. And I know they got a new coach in Ted White, but they have a returning quarterback, returning running back. So, compared to some of the other schools in front of them, Drew, I think they might have been the only program, at least in terms of a returning quarterback. But, again, what we're finding in these predicted order of finishes is really more so about the coach and the program, more so than anything. South Carolina State received 49 total points, 7 ahead of North Carolina Central, and North Carolina Central was just 2 ahead of Delaware State. Delaware State did get 2 first-place votes. North Carolina Central received 1. Chance Peterson was named the preseason Offensive Player of the Year. He is from North Carolina Central, running back, I believe. A receiver, excuse me. South Carolina State's Jordan Franklin earned preseason Defensive Player of the Year after recording 62 tackles and 12 tackles for loss last year. The South Carolina State Bulldogs led the conference with 9 first-team preseason selections. 9. That's pretty good. 9 out of about 22. It's pretty interesting. Could we be looking at another three-peat in the MEAC, Drew?
Until somebody beats South Carolina State, I wouldn't bet on anything else.
If I had to handicap the order, now I'm gonna save in the next week or two. We're gonna do our predicted order. I'm gonna try to just do some odds here, right? And obviously, you guys in the chat, you tell me what you would do here. If I set South Carolina State at plus, I would probably set them at, I would probably set South Carolina State at minus 120, Drew. I wouldn't give them any plus money. I mean, they've won 10 consecutive games, 2-time champs, and they received the most preseason votes, had the most players. I would set them at minus 110, minus 220. That means, so what would I put North Carolina Central at? I would put North Carolina Central at
plus 105.
No, I was going to go deeper than that. I would say plus 200. Plus 200, 2-1. That means if you put 100 down and North Carolina Central wins, you win $200. And I would throw Delaware State. I would call me crazy. I would put Delaware State more at plus 400. Again, I'm going off of what they
everybody else has to be over 1,000.
Yes. Morgan, Norfolk, Howard, plus 1,000 to win. So yeah, that, and I will try to work on putting some more quantitative numbers with all of that stuff here a little bit later. Any other takeaways from MEAC Media Day that you want to share, Drew? Or yeah, there's a little bit of news that came out from the MEAC.
Before we get to the big news, everybody just keep in mind all these teams, when Doc and I were interviewing them, mentioned they have anywhere from 40 to 60 newcomers on their roster this year, everybody. So don't have high expectations early in the season for anybody.
Okay, so when you say don't have high expectation, what do you mean by that?
I mean, when you have that many new people coming in, Brian, you have got to you got to figure out what's going on and everything. You may not be able to figure it out in the 4 weeks of camp, what your too deep is going to look like conference time. So be patient. 60 players. They have to gel. They have to mesh.
Well, hopefully they've been doing that up to this point, right?
You would hope. But
okay. I mean, look, I don't think well, here's the thing, right? Everyone knows for the MEAC schools what it's all about, conference play. Now, you've got anywhere from 6 or 7 non-conference games that everybody's going to play, depending upon whether you're playing an 11-game or 12-game schedule. What do those non-conference games really mean? I think it'll be interesting to see what they mean in the Black College Football Poll. I think they could mean something as it relates to playoff contention if you don't end up in a situation where you are, look, one loss can knock you out of the MEAC title, right? You could go unbeaten. For example, Delaware State had 1 loss, but Delaware State was a non-conference win away. Remember that game they got screwed out of? There was at least 2 games where I think at least one game in particular, Delaware State got screwed. Had they won that game and finished with 1 loss in the MEAC, Delaware State could have been a playoff team with 9 wins. Theoretically, I don't. Somebody would have to show me the metrics or the numbers, really. But so, what does the non-conference mean? So, yeah. What is this? Edwin says. Yeah. All right. Well, I would say of all these new players that they mentioned, how many of them of the 40 to 50, how many of them were around for the spring? That's the question you guys should have asked. Maybe you did. Because that would also be a tip-off. If you tell me, oh, half of them weren't around for the spring, okay, yeah, I might be a little concerned. But if you tell me, oh, 75% of our new players were together in the spring, I think you can mesh, Edwin. I think you can mesh the relationships from the spring and summer. Yeah. You can get in the playoffs with 1 D1 game. What is that? Oh, one loss. 1 loss. Probably, yeah. Okay. Let's talk two of the bigger stories from the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. The MEAC Network, which was an announcement that came out on Tuesday, It was the rebranding and expansion of the MEAC's digital network. It will be an enhanced streaming platform designed to provide fans with greater access to live events, championship competition, original programming, and exclusive content from across the league. Congratulations to the MEAC for joining the conference network discussion, right? After watching other conferences, beginning with the CIAA, and then last year with the SIAC network and the SWAC TV, the MEAC steps into the fold. So this statement from Commissioner Sonia Stills, the evolution of the MEAC digital network into the MEAC network represents our continued commitment to enhancing the fan experience and showcasing the incredible stories, student athletes, and institutions that made the conference special. This expanded platform allows us to provide greater access to MEAC content while creating new opportunities to connect with our fans, alumni, and supporters wherever they are. Okay, I'm going to ask a very real, honest question, Drew. That statement, I feel like I have heard that statement, and I will ask those of you who are involved with the SIAC network, there are people who follow the CIAA network. Do you see other events or other shows other than sporting events on your networks? I'll wait and listen. Okay, so the question is, how long will it take for these incredible stories, this enhanced fan experience things to come to fruition? Do the schools know about this? Because, see, this is my question about SWAC TV. Like, there's a lot of opportunities that schools can do with SWAC TV, but none of the schools are doing it. So outside of games, who will be the first conference to actually push and have more cooperation from their member institutions in terms of publicizing coaches' shows, press conferences, other shows? Who's going to be the first to do it, Drew? Got a guess or a thought? Or will we be waiting and waiting? You don't have to answer, Drew. I'm I got you. It's a rhetorical question. Let me continue reading here. This MEAC network will be available on Roku. I hope they get the bugs figured out. Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Android TV, Apple TV, iOS, Android, and the MEAC network website. The highlights of the network: more than 100 live events annually. So that means more volleyball coverage, more coverage of basketball games, whatever, softball, etc. Live coverage of MEAC championship events. Original programming from across MEAC campuses. That's the one I'd love to see. Put a double asterisk by that. Exclusive content and behind-the-scenes features. I'm going to put a double asterisk behind that. On-demand archived games. That might be the easiest thing to do, especially if this network, I believe, is affiliated with ESPN. I think. Anyway. When does it go live? Or is it live already?
That was not announced, Brian.
Oh, okay. I'm asking questions. All right. Well, did anybody ask that question?
Well, it did not come out during the press conference. It did not come out to after the media day, this announcement.
No, she was she was with you and Doc.
She mentioned it, but it officially did not come out until after we had left.
Okay.
So at that point, all we had is what she had mentioned.
All right. Let me see. Steve Ram Nation says Fayetteville State, Bluefield State had a weekly show at one point, meaning sounded like it has gone away. Fayetteville State has taken some chances as well. Holy cow. The CIAA network has had some press conferences on theirs too. Edwin says it felt like the MEAC got upstaged with their announcement, waiting until after the SWAC had already announced theirs.
Yeah.
Who
said that? So. Who said that?
Edwin. I don't think so.
Edwin, I think these announcements were timed to coincide with their media days. That was strategic.
JT, I wish I could stand on the table and shout this maybe I'll just every day for the next 30 days on social media. How about this? You think I can get some extended followers if I shout this from the mountaintops? Maybe I can find an AI voice and an AI scene of me standing on the mountaintop shouting this every day. I agree 1,000% with you, JT. Every press conference, coaches' shows should be on your network. SWAC TV, MEAC Network, SAC TV, CIAA Network.
Hey, Brian, name one school who puts all of their press conferences and coaches' shows on their network.
I don't know. That's the problem. Who?
You've watched all of our press conferences. Yes, you've watched all of our press conferences. You've watched all of the Larry Dixon shows.
On the SIAC network.
On the SIAC network.
Man, well, are you you can pat yourself on the back. Are you the only Are you the only school that does that?
I ain't worried about nobody else. Well, I just know I understand what I have, and I understand how to use it.
All right. Does anybody else watching an SIAC school do what Drew does with Morehouse?
No. Oh, I can tell you that. That's a no.
How about other coaches, other programs? Are you? Will we have press conferences and things with football from Morehouse football, Drew?
We're still in the content creation stage with some of that stuff. So as we develop shows and podcasts, be them student based or whatever, they will be presented on our network.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing it. All right. The other announcement from the MEAC. Now, this followed the football media day. This wasn't announced on the same day. Announced that ESPN and the MEAC had reached a new multi-year media rights agreement that will bring the conference basketball championships along with marquee regular season football and basketball competition to ESPN networks through the 2030-31 academic year. The agreement includes global rights, and ESPN will annually present nearly 24 regular season football games. So that's maybe close to 12, 10 to 12. The basketball tournament, the women's basketball tournament, so that all runs concurrently. All other rounds, so basically so the championships are running on the ESPN linear network, so that's ESPN 2, ESPNU. All the other rounds will be on ESPN Plus, as it has been. And select regular season men's games will be on linear ESPN networks. Let me see. Also, ESPN Events and the MEAC extended the conference's participation in the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff and Cricket Celebration Bowl through 2032. The 6-year renewal which also ties in with what the SWAC did, correct, Drew?
Correct.
Continues ESPN's longstanding commitment to showcasing HBCU football through 2 of the sport's premier's annual events held in Atlanta. So now, this is good. I know John Grant's happy, so now he can begin the planning process of announcing or planning the future schedules. Yes?
Yes. Be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. So even though we were speculating about 2029, because that wasn't official. Or was it 28 that we were speculating? What was I speculating on last week?
The only thing that was official was 27.
Okay, I was speculating on 2028 because it wasn't official, but some of the folks in the spaces and places were already talking about it. So I'm sure 28, I'm guessing here, right? John Grant might be listening. 28 and 29 will probably get announced soon, I'm guessing. I wouldn't even be surprised if he announces it before this game begins, because what's more exciting than announcing what the next 3 years of this event is going to look like? Does that make sense, Drew? I'm speculating here. You can answer or not answer. See, Will Wallace said 2028, Jackson State versus Norfolk State. That's according to Will Wallace, unofficial results. We're waiting to see what happens. So, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there while we're throwing darts at the wall. I want to see in 2029 got to be strategic about this, because I know FAMU has its tie-in with the Orange Blossom Classic.
But they're 2 different weekends now.
They are. So here we go. 2029. Let me see. Who's coming? So Norfolk's coming back. Who is next year's opponent?
Next year, Alabama State and shit, I don't remember. It's on the website.
Hey, somebody in the chat, who's coming in 27? Come on, Drew, you're supposed to know this.
Can I concentrate on Alabama A&M and Howard?
Okay, but who's coming next year? Alabama State versus who? Is it Morgan? All
Might be.
Now, let me hold on. Yeah, exactly. How about Morgan State? FAMU and Morgan State in 2029. Either give me, is it North Carolina Central? Oh, next year is Alabama State, South Carolina State? Ooh, okay. This is interesting. Okay, so, okay. All right, thank you guys in the chat. Good job. All right, so Drew, that takes away who I was going to say FAMU could play. That takes South Carolina State off the board. Howard just played, and you got Norfolk State. So that only leaves FAMU versus Central, Morgan State, or who's the other MEAC school?
Delaware State ain't coming.
You don't think you don't think Delaware State's coming? It's been a while. If Deshaun Jackson is still there, I don't think he'll be there personally. North Carolina Central makes the most sense. Or FAMU versus Morgan State, maybe. But I think the sexier choice is North Carolina Central.
Well, hell, Brian, keep you going. Give me another year. Give you 30.
Okay. Since I'm going down the road.
You're going down the road. You're going down the rabbit hole.
Okay. At that point in 2030, I'm looking at, I've got to, if you want to be inclusive here, you got to think about Morgan State.
Be strategic. Don't be inclusive.
Well, but There's only 6 MEAC schools, though, Drew.
Be strategic. Don't worry about inclusivity.
Wow. So in that case, if I'm looking at a school who hasn't been in a long time, I'm looking at Morgan State. But since Drew told me to don't be strategic, then that only means
they got Norfolk up there too now, Brian. Don't forget about them.
Well, but Norfolk State is coming. But again, you're not going to have a team. Look, if you go back and look, I don't think there's at least about a 3-year break for teams in the MEAC. I think there's at least about a 3-year gap between appearances. So if you got JSU, okay, this year you got Howard. Next year, Norfolk State, allegedly. And then if I'm putting South Carolina State in it the following year, that means it only comes back to Central. It comes back to Central. Norfolk State versus Central, 2030.
Norfolk State and Central the same.
I'm sorry. Central versus Florida A&M. I mean, or was that was what year was that? No, that was 29. Hold on, I need my pen. Where's my pen? Hold on. Okay,
let's move to the next subject, Ryan.
Yeah, let's move to the next subject. John Grant. Hold on, John Grant. I'm going to plan out the next. I'm gonna plan. I know he will get a kick out of this, right?
You got his number.
I do. I will plan out. Get next week. Tune in as Bryan predicts the next 6 years of cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff presented by Toyota games. Right here on the BCSN SportsWrap. And you all can hold me to this. I know you will. As these get announced, whether I was right or wrong. Where Bryan was right, where Bryan was wrong, to steal something from another show. How you like that, Drew? There you go. Even Valley has been in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. See, Valley versus Del State. Yeah, I'm not. You can. We got to sell tickets. Jerry Rice and Willie Totten are not walking back through that door.
We're in the red and green.
We can't sell tickets if we can't win games. I'm just saying. If we can't win games, we can't sell tickets. Sorry.
Chip. Texas Southern Central is a home and home.
Who?
Texas Southern and Central. North Carolina Central is a home and home. This is year 1 of a home and home between those two schools.
Right. And I will tell you what's also interesting about all of this is trying to that's a nasty matchup.
Come on, Will.
Will, again, we have to sell tickets, Will. I'm sorry. You're not UAPB and Morgan State alums aren't attending that game. So I don't care where that game is played. That game is not happening. You can cancel that. There's certain games and I'm sorry. There are matchups that I am not scheduling. I'm sorry. Not happening. You can kiss that one goodbye. Okay. The SIAC predicted order of finish. I thought was kind of interesting, Drew.
You already know my
yeah. The Edward Waters University Tigers, who have only been a member of the SIAC for 4 seasons. Do the math here, Drew. Somebody help me out. Is it 4 seasons? This is year 5.
I believe this is only year 3 of them being official, able to compete for a championship.
Wow. 3rd year being able to, this is year number 3 of them being able to compete for a championship. Again, it has not even been a full 5 years since they've been out of being a Division II program. I'm sorry, the NAIA program. But the Tigers, under head coach Brian Jenkins, again, Brian Jenkins took over the job right after Media Day last year when Toriano Morgan
skipped town and went to Tennessee State.
Hey. That's my coach. That's my assistant coach. So he left for a better opportunity at Tennessee State
to go join that mess at Tennessee State.
Now he's back in Florida at Florida A&M. So I look forward to talking to Coach Morgan and one day finding out, Coach, why did you really leave? Anyway, that may not be something that I can talk about here in public spaces. But anyway, Coach Morgan is back in Florida now. But Edward Waters, Brian Jenkins, led by Brian Jenkins, former Bethune-Cookman head coach. Wasn't he at Alabama State as well?
That was Sims at Alabama State.
Sims was at Alabama State. Okay, thank you. Okay, Jenkins had great success at Bethune-Cookman. Hey, the Tigers were selected the preseason favorite to win the SIAC. Shocked the heck out of me. They swept the conference's 2 major preseason individual awards. Running back John Terrius Thomas was named the preseason Offensive Player of the Year after a 717 rushing yard season, a 7.5 yards per carry. Linebacker Trevon French earned preseason Defensive Player of the Year, had 74 tackles last year and 3 sacks. And look, when we had Sly and Jamie on the show last week, they both thought that Edward Waters was either going to be 1 or 2, if I'm not mistaken. Edward Waters, of course, finished 5-5 last season, despite the coaching change. The Tiger season included a 3-0 start last year. Had the victory over the defending CIAA champs in Virginia Union. And then kind of conference season was a hit them, So tough start, great start, tough finish for Edward Waters. Benedict was picked second. I think that was the choice that I think Jamie and Sly had to finish 1. Followed by, now this is I saw somebody post this in the chat. Tuskegee predicted 3rd. Defending champ Albany State 4th. That's the biggest head scratcher.
Too high.
And Kentucky State 5th. All right, Drew, break that down for me before we get to
Brian.
Disrespect.
Brian, I'd rather not break that down. Because I do not want to give anyone in my conference any bulletin board material.
True. Okay. Well, I will say, hold on, let me go back to my handy dandy chart here. There are look, when you look at these rankings, I'm at a loss for words here. Conservative Drew. That's exactly what's conservative Drew. And I'm gonna tell you why Drew is conservative here. Because some of these, okay, let me just say this. I know we don't know a lot about these teams, but if you can, you're picking, and I wonder what they do first. Do they pick the teams first or they pick the players first?
For
these awards, or are they done at the same time, Drew?
It's all done at the same time, and the way the form goes, you start off with your players of the year, Then you go down through all your offensive selections. Then you go through your defensive selections. And then the last thing that you do is pick your order of finish. Now, there is an asterisk to that though, Brian.
Uh-huh.
If you made all conference last year, and you are returning to your same institution, you automatically make preseason next year. So if you were first team last year and you have eligibility remaining and you're still with that institution, you will automatically be back on the first team this year. If you were second team last year and the person on the first team has moved on, then you automatically get bumped up to first team. So that's how we do it in the SIAC. Now, they did add the David Wright rule, I think, after his 1 year at Clark, because David Wright, if you guys remember, was he was player of the year his junior year at Allen. And then he transferred to Clark and did not receive any preseason awards because he transferred schools. They have added in that if you transfer within the conference and you were on a postseason team, you will be put on the preseason team for your new institution. I hope I explained that to everybody.
You did. I'm just fascinated by the number one preseason predicted order team. Yes, I get it. They had the top offensive player, top defensive player. Okay, I'm okay with them being one or two. Benedict,
that is correct, Edwin.
What do you say? Hold on, I was looking at something else.
If end of season first team leads, second team end of season is preseason's first team. That is basically how it works, Edwin.
And hey, news tip, that news flash, that kind of happens in other
most
conferences.
Conferences, yes.
Okay, the SIAC is just admitted. They just admit it.
Can I answer this one? Do they have info on these selections? Yes, they. You in addition to last year's stats, and in the SIAC, stats are based on conference only stats. Some conferences base it on overall stats, whereas in the SIAC, we base it on your conference only stats, those 8 conference games. And you do have a chance to write a narrative with the selection to go along with the stats. But the question is, Steve and everybody else out there, do the voters actually read the narrative? Because sometimes the stats don't tell the full story of a player.
You know what? I don't know. Why would you not like conference only? The reason I like conference only is you got to remember you're playing a lot of times, well, at the Division II level especially, those two, I think conference matters more because 80% of your schedule, 70 to 80% of your schedule is conference games.
Correct.
At the Division I level, you've got games against non-conference opponents that will skew your statistics a little bit. 25% of your games, or in the MEAC's case, more than 50%, will come from non-conference games. So at the Division I level, I don't think you would use conference-only games. But at the Division II level, I'm certainly all in favor of using conference games. Okay. The reason I ask that is because in the SIC, how many players you have on your preseason teams usually I say, would mirror what you might have in the standings. But every now and then, you'll see a case where you won't. And this year in the SIC, among the total of 52 roster spots. Okay. That's 26 first team, 26 second team. Take that into consideration. That's 52 spots, Drew. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was only one school that had double-digit players on the first or second team. Let's see if anybody was paying attention. Anybody in the chat want to guess who that school is? Double-digit players on the first or second team. Only one school. We'll give it a second. Let me see if I got some background music here. Let me see. Bingo. G-Boom.
He was paying attention Thursday.
Yeah. Morehouse College with 10 selections, 2 first-teamers, 8 second-teamers. The next closest school was Kentucky State. Oh, hold on. Let me back up for a second.
I've actually got that breakdown.
Let me back up. I didn't do that. I didn't sell that properly. They had the only double-digit listing of players. Again, I told you, 52 positions. Yes, that makes it even more impressive, Steve. You have 13 schools, 52 positions. Morehouse had nearly 20%. Nearly 20% of the players among the 52. And guess what Morehouse's predicted order was for the season? 12th out of 13 schools. Now, wow. Okay. So if we get to talking about teams to watch out for, I can no longer chuckle under my breath at Drew when Drew says watch out for Morehouse, because it's legit. You have the most players on the first or the second team. So if Drew tells me watch out for Morehouse as the top 4, top 5, I'd say, okay, I can buy into it because y'all got the most players.
And if you miss my rant,
go back and listen to Classic
about my quarterback on Thursday. Oh, excuse me, on Wednesday on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Please go back.
Who was the let me look up. Who was the quarterback who was in front of him?
Xavier Jackson of Clark, Atlanta.
Now, was he at Clark last year?
Yes.
What did he do at Clark last year?
He started 7 games, passed for just over 2,000 yards. Him and Miles tied with 18 touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Clark 3-7 last year.
And
Morehouse 3-7 a year ago.
I was gonna say identical records. Yes, they beat us heads up 45-48 in the shootout.
Yeah.
But
okay. Makes all the more reason to be excited about the upcoming what's it called? The ATL Labor Day Classic?
Yes.
Between Clark and Morehouse. That should be very interesting to open the season. You know, preseason, both teams predicted the bottom third of the conference, but have the top 2 quarterbacks according to the preseason selections. Interesting. Okay, let's continue on with those selections. Kentucky State had the second most selections with 7. 2 first team, 5 second team. Now, the next 2 schools had the most first team selections. Allen University had 4 first team selections, 5 total. Benedict, 4 first team selections, 5 total. Of course, Edward Waters had a total of 5 selections, but they had the 2, the offensive and defensive player of the year. So when I say all that, Drew, and I talk about the contrast in the predicted order of finish, I don't know if y'all know what the hell y'all doing. We're just throwing darts at the wall, guys. I mean, to some degree, like, Edward Waters, Benedict, yeah. Tuskegee, 4-7 a year ago. Why? Why are they third? Albany State, yeah, they were 12-2 last year, but they lost their head coach, they lost a quarterback, they lost a running back, just numerous losses. I mean, y'all know something about Albany State that I don't? Why are they 4? Why are they over Kentucky State, who was 9-3 a year ago? Returning head coach. I mean, come on. Why is Morehouse 12? Morehouse should have at least been predicted 6th. Throw him a bone. Should have been in the middle of the pack. SIAC. It's going to be a fascinating season. Fascinating season. Oh, also, one other SIAC note. The SIAC also shared some information regarding television deals and contracts, Drew, correct?
It's just the ESPN schedule.
Just the ESPN schedule? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you had that. I don't think we had that on the list. Let me see if I can find it. What else? Was that there? Nope, I don't have it. Okay. But it was just the ESPN schedule, right?
Yes.
All right. So we'll see a multitude of games on ESPN Plus for the SIC. Do you have a total? Was it like a 20-something games?
22 games.
22 games. Okay. And then you'll potentially have other games elsewhere. Right now, there's no deal with HBCU Go. So there's an opportunity. Maybe we'll once again see SIC football games on the Black College Sports Network. Who knows? We look forward to it. The possibilities. Possibilities are endless. Anything is possible. Okay. One other SIAC-related story that I saw here on our rundown. The Morehouse-Clark Atlanta rivalry gets a Labor Day Classic. I mentioned all the more reason now to watch. You've got the top 2 quarterbacks, according to the preseason players. The first and second teams are at Clark and Atlanta. We've got new coaches at both schools. And a game that used to be held at the end of the season is now kicking off Labor Day weekend. The game is a home opener for both programs. Where's the game played at, Drew, this year?
We've got it at home.
Okay, so it'll be at Morehouse. It's considered one of Black college football's oldest rivalries. Again, dating back to the 1900s. And now this game, first off, what's the buzz? Is there any buzz? Is there an excitement of moving the game from the end of the season to the beginning of the season?
It's been a lot of why from the alumni perspective. What was the motivation behind doing it? People starting to buy into it. But when you've been doing something for so long at the same time, it's taken some adjustments. But it's going to be interesting where people, outfits that were planned to be worn for that game have to be exchanged now. Because normally that's the game where you have your hoodie, your coat, your nice hats and everything else, where you've got to change up that whole outfit that you was planning to wear to that fashion show, because it's going to be 90 plus degrees at game time.
So I think, and one other question: when's the last time there has been a meaningful, hasn't it been a while since this game has actually determined the SIAC, like who will have a chance to play for an SIAC championship?
I don't think this game has ever determined who's going to play for the SIAC championship. And the reason I say that, Brian, because these two programs I would have to go back and find out when these two programs have been good at the same time. And honestly, I don't think these two have been good since the merger of Clark College and Atlanta University both have been good at the same time.
I'm so glad you said that. And then I got one other question. What is the seating capacity at BT Harvey?
Seating or stadium capacity? Because those are two different numbers.
Stadium capacity.
I mean, stadium capacity, you can get with the hill and everything else, you can get 20.
Okay. How about over at the Panther Stadium?
Ooh, I would not know.
Okay.
I think their seating capacity is like maybe around 6 or so.
Okay.
So bleachers plus hill and everything else, you can squeeze 20 in BT Harvey.
Okay. Shout out to the SIAC sit down in the chat. Okay, so here's why. If anyone's asking why move this game, here's the first glaring reason. It's one of those O's that Drew talked about last week. Optimism. I know somebody who has a game in week 0. Clark plays Grambling.
Clark plays Grambling while we play UAPB.
Okay. There's a real possibility one of the two schools might have a win under their belt going into week 1. It's a possibility. Optimism.
Well, Brian, let me take this
Hold on. Let me finish with the optimism thing here. So even if both teams lose, you'll say, oh, they played a SWAC school. They played a Division I. They played up. The optimism angle is you are no longer on a depressing nosedive of a season when you're meeting. You're still in the optimism phase of your season. Fans can get behind it because you may only have a loss. You might even have a win under your belt. The attendance should soar because people have hope. This should be a good game, according to the preseason analysis, right? You have reason to believe that Clark is going to be good. You have reason to believe Morehouse can be good. When you play in November, you are what you are, right? You are what's the saying, Drew? You are what your record says you are. Exactly. And most of the times you are 2 and something going into this game, or maybe 3 and something. That's what it's been the last few years. And so now you have an opportunity. The last 2 times this game was played at BT Harvey in 2024, the attendance was 8,968. And then in 2022, it was 9,000 even. I think somebody was just fudging when they just said 9,000 even. You weren't there yet, so whoever was there. So they just were being lazy and they just said 9,000. They just rounded up. But there, you can theoretically, Drew, have an attendance of over 10. I'm going to go on a limb, Drew, and say you will have over 12,000 people at this game for the Labor Day Classic.
Oh, I can probably almost guarantee you that. And Brian,
you won't get that in November with teams that are 2 and 8, or I'm sorry, 2 and 7, or 3 and 6. You won't get that kind of numbers in November. Go ahead.
Brian, you missing a very simple point.
I'm sure I am.
Come Sunday, September 6th.
Yeah.
A team from Atlanta will be in first place in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference.
The SIC, you mean?
For at least 1 week.
Somebody from the SIC will be 1-0 and in first place.
Correct.
There it is. There you go. That in itself hasn't happened in this era since COVID, and Drew will have to go deep into the archives to find out the last time that one of these teams went into this matchup in first place.
Last time Morehouse finished in first place in the conference, we did some yakkish stuff and split it 5 ways in 1991.
Yeah, there you go. See, Ja agreed. That's facts. Steve backed it up with the date, 91.
Yes.
Damn. So I would
arguably the second between 1991 and 2025, the 2 most successful athletic years for Morehouse.
Yeah. And guess which one of those 2 programs will have post-game press conferences running on the SIC network?
I can't speak for that other school.
Again, I just say guess. Anyway, glad that this game is at the beginning of the season. Congrats. The ATL football, the ATL, let me figure it out. Excuse me. 3, 2, 1. The ATL Labor Day Classic between Morehouse and Clark Atlanta this year being played at BT Harvey Stadium. Get your tickets, be in the building. I'm sure it'll be on Is it on TV? Is it streamed yet? Has that been announced?
As of right now, it is on the SIAC network. I say as of right now, some things may move over the next week or so.
Okay.
It is not be on the mothership. So
all right. Oh, you know what? While I'm feeling messy right now, Drew, I forgot. Okay, I'm gonna your breakdown. I love it. It makes me, while we're talking football media days. Anything else we want to talk about here in the SIAC before we jump to another conference? I'm about to be messy here in a second.
Did I do it?
No, you didn't do it. The SIAC sit down again. Look, see, young folk right here. See, come on now. That's not even required of you, young fella. You know, we understand. You know, again, he said I wasn't even thought of. Damn. How old do you feel now? Okay. Tuskegee dress code.
Bryan, you weren't even on the hill yet.
No, I was not at FAMU. I was still chilling in Indianapolis. Hadn't graduated high school yet.
Exactly.
That's all. Look, it's almost as long as it took the Knicks to win. You know, I hadn't seen the Knicks win a title in my lifetime prior to what I saw in June. I hadn't seen the Knicks win a title. Hadn't seen the Knicks win a title in my lifetime. You know, now what other team what else haven't I seen in my lifetime, Drew?
Jets.
Yep. Haven't seen the Jets win a title in my lifetime. Let me see. What else major? I've seen a black man be president. I've seen a black man go to space. Let me see. All right. What haven't you seen? You guys put that in the chat. That's interesting. What haven't you seen yet?
The Browns.
Outside of the Jets.
The Browns.
I haven't seen my Pacers win. My Pacers have not won a title. That's left. That's it. Every other sports franchise I love has won a title in my lifetime. And I hope I live long enough to see the Pacers win. I was so close. I was so close. I was so close a year ago.
You was blown Achilles away.
I was. I was blown Achilles away. And that's
yeah, Falcons.
They had their shot though. They had their shot. They were Tom Brady comeback away.
Hawks have never been there.
And the Hawks, I'm not a Hawks fan. Black man has been on the moon, had he? A black man just went to the moon. G boom.
Oh, and what the other one? The United States win World Cup.
The black man went to the other side of the moon, didn't he?
Yeah. You heard me, Bryan?
No, what was the other one?
United States win the World Cup.
Ooh, there you go. Well, but we've seen the women do it. Does that count?
Nah. Well, yes and no.
All right.
That's just like the Braves winning, but the Falcons haven't won.
Yeah, so Atlanta, save me your stress, Atlanta sports fans. You've experienced the Braves winning multiple titles, so just because the Hawks and the Falcons and the Dream and all these other sports franchises you got in the city, save me. That is look, I would put, okay, hold on. What do you think is more likely to happen first in our lifetime? The Jets winning a Super Bowl or USA men's national team winning a World Cup?
I got to go with the Jets because the World Cup only comes around once every 4 years.
Exactly. Exactly. Because every year the Jets have a chance until probably Halloween. And then you realize,
they're the Jets.
They're the Jets. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of media days, did you see the predicted order of finish in the CAA?
Oh, I mean, raise your hand if you're surprised by this. Give me a virtual hands or thumbs up if you were surprised by this.
If you were surprised. If you are surprised, right? Okay, so North Carolina A&T predicted 12th, Hampton last. So that just sets up. I tweeted this out. The A&T versus Hampton game will be to see who can avoid being in last place.
The A&T Hampton game is what the Morehouse and Clark Atlanta game has been for so many years.
When is that game? What date? Somebody give me a date on A&T Hampton, and where is it this year? Okay, one of our story headlines: North Carolina A&T attempts to reclaim its championship identity. Listen to this. Remember, A&T, two schools that left the MEAC. Battle of the Bottoms. Hey, I like that new nickname. Is that a good nickname for that? Can we call it? But we need a new name for this matchup.
Can we trademark that?
Yeah. Can we call this matchup the Battle of the Bottoms? I don't know. Somebody, or maybe there's another name for it. Anyway, two schools that left the MEAC. Probably should have stayed. But anyway, since they have left, and don't forget, of the two schools, A&T was the one that was sitting on top of the world. I mean, they had won 3 or 4 Celebration Bowls. They were the best thing since sliced bread. And then I don't know who left first.
Hampton left the MEAC first, went independent, and then wound up in the Big South.
Okay.
Then A&T left, went to the Big South. But A&T has had some success in both the Big South and the CAA.
What are you
except in football?
Okay. Thank you. I was like, what are we defining success as? And then thank you. Except in, there you go, that key word, except in football. You're right. A&T has experienced success in the CAA
and
other sports, except in football. And of course, it was football that, now they were having success in the MEAC and other sports as well. But, we know football is what drives the conversation and gets people excited. The Aggies are 4-31 overall and 2-22 in conference play since beginning CAA football competition in 2023.
Give me that again.
Somebody check these numbers. Make sure these are right. If I'm wrong, I apologize. 4-31 overall, 2-22 in conference play since 2023.
And those two were probably to the other school.
Hampton, you Albany, A&T Roy said, well, okay. Second-year head coach Sean Gibbs said the program must stop concentrating on proving that it belongs in the CAA. He wants the Aggies to reconnect with the identity that produced 4 MEAC championships and 4 Celebration Bowl victories between 2015 and 2019. That's interesting. You want to reconnect with the identity that Drew, is there any chance that a little bit of that identity might be wrapped up in the fact that you were playing MEAC opponents? Just a thought.
Bryan,
anyway,
you're not going to reconnect that identity as long as your budget is $5 to $10 million less than everybody else's budget in your conference.
UAlbany. What is UAlbany? UAlbany's pick. What is their? You think they have a bigger budget than North Carolina A&T?
I mean, we could look that up for next week, but I'm going to guess yes.
A&T had been winless in CAA play prior to Gibbs' first season. Damn. I mean, that's a good first step, getting wins in conference. I mean, it is. I always chuckle. One of the best lines that I heard from Sean Gibbs, and just the whole, he was brought in to sort of reconnect the whole, again, he was there during the celebration days, there under Broadway, worked alongside Washington, bringing back that old thing back. What they called it, the original recipe. I got a chuckle out of that. Well, I remember there was a quote about something about the original recipe, and the Colonel didn't change up his recipe, and the chicken that was good back in the Celebration Bowl days. We got to get back to cooking that kind of chicken. I'm paraphrasing,
but Bryan, the recipe may be the same, the chicken may be just as good, but the location of the restaurant has changed. The neighborhood has changed around the restaurant also.
Okay.
I don't think KFC sits good in Beverly Hills.
Let's see. A&T beat Hampton and Campbell last year. Okay. So the question becomes, I saw somebody say that A&T was going to win 6 games. Okay.
That was Roy. That was Troy.
Shout out to Roy. I love, again, we're in the season of optimism. So, okay, I'm not going to be the person that's going to step on your optimism right now. I'm not. I'm just going to look at you and, okay, hope so. Coca-Cola said he went back to the original recipe. What was that? Hold on. What was that? Coca-Cola went back to the original recipe, but it hadn't tasted the same since they changed it. Jamaica has a better recipe. Fried chicken in a vegetarian neighborhood. That's hilarious. Yes, instead of using the what is
Bryan,
it? You're using the canola, and instead of using canola, you're using vegetable oil on your chicken. You should be using peanut oil.
Bryan, I don't care what you use. They ain't putting Lowry's on it, so it ain't gonna taste right.
Right. Y'all just wash and pat dry the chicken and then throw it in the grease. No, where's the season? You got to season the meat, and then you got to season the flour, Drew. If you ain't seasoning the flour, and then you can't just season the meat and think that's all I got to do. Them folks in the CAA, they seasoning the flour. They ain't season the meat, not one their bit. Anyway, you got to season the meat, and you got to season the flour. You got to season them both.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Bryan, before we get out of here, 2 things.
Yeah.
For all the new Sixer fans, please identify yourself in the chat.
Oh, we're doing that, huh?
I just want to see who all the new Sixers fans are. Please identify yourself in the chat.
The Sixers, before they signed Jaylen Brown, they were 60-1 to win the title. Before they signed, before LeBron signed, they were 9-1. Actually, they were still 9-1. Matter of fact, I looked at them. They're just nasty folks. They ain't washed the chicken. They ain't seasoning the. Man, I tell you, one of the greatest lines.
There we go. Here's our first one.
Strictly because of Bron. All right. Well, hold on. Let me see if I can tell you what the latest odds look like for the 76ers. So LeBron James signs a 2-year deal on the low. 2 years, $8 million.
Vet minimum.
That's amazing, right? Talk about I'm just trying to win a title. He can finally officially say, I'm just trying to win a title, Drew. He can definitely say that now.
And I think it's a 1+1, actually.
It is, yep. Which means if he chooses to retire, then that'll be it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, wow, they got LeBron season specials up already. Giannis, let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me see. All right. Okay. Ooh, to win the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia plus 350. Second best odds. The Knicks are plus 300. Where are my Pacers at? Oh, I got to jump on. The Pacers are 14-1. Yep, I'm getting on that. Let me see. What division? Oh, their Atlantic division. Let me see. Hold on. Did they take down? Here we go. Ooh, the odds are the Sixers at 10-1. Let me see. Fourth longest odds. Defending champs, Knicks are 9-1. Spurs plus 250. The OKC plus 250. You know what? The Sixers at 10-1. That's great value. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, because Embiid gonna get hurt.
Well, what if he doesn't? I mean, if he doesn't, how good is 10-1 looking? It's looking great. Now, what you do though is you wait for Embiid to get hurt, and then those odds will change and they'll get longer, and then maybe. Oh, did they really? Oh, they're stacking. They are stacking for who's the coach of the Sixers? Because at this point, I'm feeling like he's the guy that can mess all this up now. Oh, well, no. Look, okay. First off, you've already walked into a team with 3 All-Stars. Brown's an All-Star. Maxi's an All-Star. VJ Edgecombe, don't sleep, All-Star. Oh, excuse me. Embiid was an All-Star. That's 3. And Edgecombe will be an All-Star. LeBron, All-Star. Nick Nurse coaching them, he knows what he's doing. I like Nick Nurse. Good coach. Okay, so that's another feather in the cap. And I don't think there's no extra coming in. LeBron didn't come in making an announcement. The NBA can now load up the television schedule with a bunch of Sixers games all season. If I'm Embiid, there's no way I'm playing him on back-to-back nights. You have to manage his minutes. Yeah, and load management for Joel Embiid.
Brian, I'm about to say something, and we know how it was when Jordan went to the Wizards for his last couple of years. Does anybody remember Magic doing his comeback with the Lakers after he retired?
Magic. Wait a minute. Magic didn't go anywhere else.
Yes, he did. No, but he played for the Lakers. He coached the Lakers. Then he came back and played for the Lakers again.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, but anyway, let me tell you what's going to have to happen for the Sixers to be successful. And this is what I'm about to say is blasphemy, Brian.
Uh-oh.
LeBron James is going to have to do a Bill Walton and come off the bench.
Ooh. That's a great. I haven't heard anybody talk. Anybody else heard anybody talk? Will LeBron James come off the bench this year? Wow. Drew, man. I mean, you can play him at the 4, Drew, though. I mean, why?
He can play the 3 or the 4, but have him come off the bench playing the 3 or the 4. You're coming in, and if you think about it in theory, Brian, you coach. When you're coming in off the bench, you're playing either tired first team or lesser talent on the second team. That's going to keep him fresher down the stretch, Brian. 25 minutes a game off the bench.
Hold on. Let me look. Yahoo Sports projected starting lineup. Maxey Brown, LeBron, Joel, and Edgecombe. Come on, man. I don't think you can't bring LeBron off the bench. Why would you bring LeBron off the bench? Now, here's the thing. There are going to be days when you do have he would be the, you know what? And that would be the, okay, hold on, Drew. You just talked me, that D-Lob, you just brought up something. What's the only award that LeBron does not have under his belt, Drew?
Sixth Man of the Year.
D-Lob, Drew, D-Lob, you're on it. Let's go. Now see, if you guys say that and you do that narrative, LeBron coming off the bench, Sixth Man of the Year. There you go.
For a championship team.
Sixth Man of the Year, LeBron James, the last, and then I think he will officially have. He will have
everything but comeback player of the year.
Everything but comeback player of the year. Exactly. Right. Everything but comeback player of the year. You're right. The full decoration. Wow.
Exactly. The good one.
Which one?
Robert Horry.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well.
All right. Last thing before we get out of here, Brian.
Last thing. The
Mecca. Y'all have been cutting in
Howard
on social media. Just let me say this.
The WNBA All-Star Game is always.
Sorry, go ahead.
Cut your chat off, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And some of y'all are looking at this with emotion and not thinking about this. And I still didn't pull that letter, but I did see a copy of the letter. Let me explain something to y'all.
Okay, first off, for people who don't know what you're talking about, set it up, please.
Okay,
some of us might have been in a vacuum.
The big to do about Howard unenrolling 500 students because they did not meet their financial aid obligations. And some of y'all went off on Howard on social media like they weren't about nothing, First of all, what about the 2,000 students who did the right thing and got in? Who followed the instructions? Who checked their emails? who signed up for the text alerts and the push notifications. I'm just saying. So the fact that half these people do not check their email. Let's be honest, Brian. Do you check your email every day? Your personal email? We check our business. We check our work email.
I check my personal every day. I still miss stuff.
Yes. So, and let me back something up. The way they do things now, when it comes to financial aid, registration, housing, et cetera, is not the way that most of us did this who went to HBCUs in the chats when we went to our HBCUs. Government regulations have changed. Government timings have changed. Government funding sources have changed. Y'all figure out why some of these changes have happened over the last couple of years. I'm not going to say it right here. Don't take a genius to figure it out. But with that, not following the instructions, they did not just wake up one morning and say, "Hell, let's unroll 500 people." They did not do that. There were reasons why. Now, kudos for Howard to figuring out a way to go and give these people another week, another couple of weeks, whatever. But
did they do that?
Reportedly, they've done something to let these people try to work it out. But you had until July 10th to pay 50% of your balance or get on the payment plan. Right.
July 10th was the deadline issued by the university to set up, payment and document deadline. So there was financial aid paperwork and a payment that needed to be made by July 10th. And they didn't send out notices until nearly 13, 14 days later, July 23rd and 24th.
That they were unenrolled.
Right. 502 potential incoming first year.
That means you could have probably still snuck in there between July 10th and when they sent out the notice.
Maybe.
I'm just saying. And there may have been a couple of people who did get in there between there who got unenrolled and got their business handled. But they start sending you this stuff out once you accept it. They give you these timelines. They sent notices out in May, in June.
Classes start August 17th.
Right. And miss me if you have not filled out your FAFSA still. Miss me with that. You have no argument. So I hope that, the other one, Howard has the largest endowment amongst HBCUs. Why don't they just do it? That's not what their mission is. They have the largest endowment for a reason. That endowment does not go towards scholarships. And a portion of it may go towards scholarship, but that's not what the purpose of the endowment is, to pay your bills. And as a parent of somebody going through college, it's tough. I understand, but you got to monitor that. Your child has to. Let me take that back. You don't have to monitor it. Your child has to monitor it, because you can't monitor it without your child's permission if your child is over the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
Your child has to sign that FERPA. So lay off of Howard. And if things don't go well, got Morgan State, you got Bowie State, you got UDC all right there. Coppin State. Maybe private school is not for everybody. Hey, Brian, Florida A&M, Public school. My degree says something.
Yeah. Well, hey, tough place to be. But
Actually, Emmett, I think Morehouse may be number 3. I think Spelman's
Spelman
endowment is number 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But there's still some 2,000 freshmen coming into Howard, correct?
Yes. Thank you. Look at A&T, and that's a public school.
Well, I hope everything works out for those folks. Look, that we have to tell young people about emails and text. I wonder, does Howard have a system where they send text alerts?
I'm pretty sure everybody had. I don't know if they had the text alerts, but you know to check your email once a day. Go in, put Howard in there. I'll guarantee you something's gonna pop up if you're a Howard student.
I bet none of the people that were blasting Howard were Howard alums, because Howard alums know.
Oh, Howard alums been all over everybody's. You know what? Every Howard alum I know has been all over them. Like
they like, that's on you. That's you. You messed that up. They so it's But anyway, we will stand on business for our school, no doubt.
I mean, that's just reality, and I hope this is a wake up call for these kids as they go into real life. Just like we're gonna see what happens at Tuskegee with this dress code policy. Thank you, Mother Tuskegee, because you can't wear flip flop and pajamas to work.
Okay, I heard a little bit about that, but not a lot. But
Steve's got a great article on HBCU Game Day on it.
Does he? Okay.
Yes.
Go check out HBCUGameDay.com. New dress code policy for students. Is that students going to class, right?
Yes, on campus.
Well, wait a minute. On campus, meaning
like even if you're going to the CAF.
Huh.
If you're on campus.
Well, you know what? Private schools gonna do what they need to do because it's private, right? You chose to go there. We chose to accept you. You choose to agree to
you
dress appropriately.
Brian,
what they tell them? No pajamas, no skull caps, no
do-rags,
do-rags.
certain hair, no bonnets for the women.
No bonnets.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, come busy. Brian, we couldn't walk up in SBI like that. Whether it was a forum day or wasn't.
No sagging pants. Good for Tuskegee. Stand on business. It's your school. You don't like the dress code? Go to somewhere else. Shoot. They don't tolerate that at the Naval Academy at West Point. So guess what? It's you're gonna dress the way we tell you to dress, and come to class with some sense, because that's what you're here to do. You're here to learn. You want to go somewhere else? Go to a public institution where you can dress however the hell you want to dress.
Except in SBI.
Except in SBI. All right.
Let's pick up the show and get out of here, man.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for being a part of the chat, for checking in. I'd like to encourage all of you to go check out the BCSN Pod Zone. If you listen to podcasts, like maybe you're out walking in the morning or the afternoon, evening, maybe you got a long ride to work, I think you'll enjoy the BCSN Pod Zone. It's an aggregate of all of the shows on the Black College Sports Network. The numbers are growing, so that means these little PSAs that I've been giving, somebody's listening to them, and you guys are downloading and you're subscribing on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast. Just type in BCSN Pod Zone. If you missed yesterday's Carlos Brown show, you can go check it out on the BCSN Pod Zone. And when I talk about helping independent Black media, well, every time that you listen to our podcast, it helps the algorithm. We actually get revenue from that, and it helps us. And so, you guys, all your support and the many ways in which you can support the Black College Sports Network, BCSN, it's all appreciated. BCSN Pod Zone everywhere. Down on the bottom, you see how you can follow us on social media. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, YouTube channel. You can also join as well, make a monthly donation and join the channel. Or if you want to give an individual super chat, you can do that. Or you can drop a line in the Cash App as well. All right. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. Training camps are coming up this week. So the first news that we'll see of teams taking a practice field, hopefully everybody stays hydrated, injury-free.
And healthy. Yes.
And healthy. Yes, exactly, because nothing will change a season like health. We begin season number 10 next week, Drew, and we will drop our first. We got a couple of things that we're excited about. We always like to do season predictive win totals. We'll do standings or rankings for best, how do I want to say this? Easiest and weakest schedules. Wait a minute, that's the other way around. Easiest and toughest schedule. That's the same thing. Easiest and weakest. Strongest and weakest strength of schedule. Whatever I'm trying to say, Drew.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Exactly. But we got a lot of things we're going to do in these next upcoming weeks as we get countdown is on 4 weeks to the start of the 2026 Black college football season. We're excited about it. Also, probably about 4 weeks from the start of volleyball. So we look forward to kind of catching some news about volleyball's upcoming season and seeing who's going to be on top of what. But now's a great time to start planning your calendar, folks. If you haven't started, start doing it now. Plan your trips. Take advantage of these great deals on flights, travel arrangements, book your hotels. Get ready.
Start with your homecoming plans. Then
start with the start with homecoming
classic, then fill in the rest of the games.
Buy season tickets too. I want to encourage everybody, really. Tell you something. Even if you don't go to every game, you can always give your tickets away. So one way you can support your athletic program is buy season tickets. Just a little tip. All right, that's going to be enough reminders. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, Walter Harley. Thank you, everybody in the chat for your comments, your interaction. Appreciate all of you guys. Hit the thumbs up and the like button on your way out the door. That's going to do it for tonight's show. For A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. You guys be well. Have a great week. Be positive to each other. Love each other. And together we shall overcome. That's it. Peace out, everybody.
Travel light, everybody. We'll holler.
You stay on hard.